Okay, so if that is the case, so let us, redraw the small signal model again for MOSFET. So it will be like this. You have source terminal here, a gate terminal here, and then we have drain terminal, and then we have a voltage controlled current source, which we represent like this. This is your VGS, and then this is the, if you only consider this model, that it means, if you only consider this model, that it means the ID versus VDS. The ID versus VDS characteristics of the MOSFET will be this, exactly flat. But if you take into consideration this thing here, a MOSFET's value output resistance RO, and the value of this is lambda ID. If you consider this type of situation where RO is also connected with this current source, then your MOSFET's characteristics will change and it will be like this. So this is actually incorporating the non-ideal characteristics of the MOSFET, whereas this is the ideal characteristics of the MOSFET. So now we want to add one more thing here, and the extra thing that we want to add here is, as you might recall, that we said last time, if you see our earlier lecture, then if you recall, then you will see here we discussed bulk gate effect, which is also called as back gate effect. This thing, we discussed this thing, right? Like the variation of the threshold with back gate. So what do you observe from here? Like, and the thing that you observe is, if you change the if you change the bulk voltage or bulk terminal of the MOSFET, if you change VSB actually, if you change this, the VTH will change, and this VTH, if VTH changes, current changes. Current will be moving up and down depending upon the variation in the VSB. So if that is the situation, then actually your VSB is also controlling the current. Last time we saw that only VGS is controlling the current, but now VSB is also controlling the current. So if this is the situation, then we have to incorporate this thing also in this model, the one which we are defining here. So as you know, this thing we have already included, that is the voltage is controlling the, VGS is controlling the current. Now the second thing that we want to include is, and that thing is that VSB is controlling the current. So in order to do that, we have to include one more current source, which is like this. So this current source has the value GMB, and then we have here VBS. I will tell you why we are writing that. So GMB VBS. So as you can see here, we have GMB VBS. That means what? That means your current which is coming from drain to source is controlled by VBS also. And what is VBS? VBS is, there is one more terminal which we are calling as bulk terminal here, and this bulk terminal is nothing but this terminal. This is your bulk terminal. This is your drain terminal. This is your source terminal. And this is your gate terminal. So earlier you were controlling the current by changing this voltage. As the current ID was changing because of VGS only. But now you are changing current by VBS also, this voltage. So this is also changing the current. So if this is also changing the current, then it acts as a second gate. So if it acts as a second gate, then it will have a current source dependent on VBS, and the value is GMB. Please note it is GMB here and this is GM. So GMB is the GM of the bulk transistor. Like, if what is the effect when you are changing the current VGS. So GMB is basically nothing but change in current when your VBS is changing. That is the important thing. So here, if it is a bulk terminal, then what you do is you write it like this, minus VBS, like this. And the way why we are writing like this is important. The polarity, you have to see that polarity is important here. Why we are writing like this? Because we know earlier from the theory that if you increase VSB, what happens is when you increase VSB, your VTH increases. This is what we have seen earlier in our earlier discussion. So if VTH increases, then you know that your ID is mu n cox W by L VGS minus VTH square. So when your VSB increases, your VTH increases. So if your VTH increases, what can you say about the drain current? Anyone? Can anyone tell me if our VTH increases, the drain current will increase or decrease? Any one of you students? Any idea? Okay, so if VTH increases, that means your drain current decreases, right? It is very simple because you are subtracting something. This is increasing. This is constant. VGS is constant and you are increasing something here. So your ID is decreasing because of increase in VTH. So your ID is decreasing. So that means if you change the polarity, if you change it from VSB to VBS, and if you increase this, then what will happen? The VTH will decrease and ID will increase. It is just opposite of what is happening when your VSB was increasing. So if this is the situation, that's why we are writing it as VBS here, because your VBS is increasing and now ID is increasing. So ID is basically the drain current that is coming from this point. So earlier there was no current in this branch because we were not considering the effect of VBS, so there was no current here. So only current which was flowing earlier was this current, which is, you know, that is GMVGS thing. But now because of the backgate, we have an extra current which is flowing here, which we are calling as, let us say, IB. Then this ID increases because of this factor which is added in this branch, which is ID here. So that's why this makes sense. That is basically the polarity makes sense here. It is not the other way around. Like, if you see the direction of the current source, it is not like this. It is the other way around, like this, because you kept the polarity as VBS. If you change it to VSB, then the polarity of this current source will change. It will be like this. And then current will decrease because one is going in this branch current, another one is going like this. So if you apply KCL here, your ID will decrease. So any confusions here regarding this thing? So this is the bulk. This is the full model for the MOSFET, but it's not exactly full model. I will draw it. Or I will draw it now. But this is the model, and the relation between GMB and GM is related by a factor of 0.25. So GMB is actually 0.25 of GM. So, so whenever we say that the gamma is not equal to zero, whenever we say this gamma is not equal to zero in questions or wherever you see that, that means you have a bulk gate effect. You have a bulk gate effect in the question. And when gamma is zero, then you can take easily this current source as zero, and there is no need of taking this type of controlling source. But at the same time, if lambda is not equal to 0, if we give question like lambda is not equal to 0, that means you have to include RO. But if lambda is equal to 0 is given, then there is no point in including RO here. Then you can exclude this also. So this is different varieties of indication given in the questions or in the book. like based on this thing. Okay, so if this is if you have understood this, then the complete model, if you see, will be like this. You draw some this current source here. This is GM VGS. Then we have RO here, and then we have here GMB VBS, and uh, then we have here uh, VBS. So can anybody tell me what we are missing here? Like, is there anything we are missing here? Like, is this model complete, or are we missing something? Like, in terms of the elements. Anyone?
Drain voltage.
Drain voltage. No, no, no. That one is okay. Yeah, this is drain. This is gate, and this is your uh, bulk, and this is your source. The things that we are missing over here is capacitances that we discussed. So what are the capacitances which we discussed? One is this CGS. Okay. Another one is CDB here. Then we have here another capacitance coming like this CSB. Then there is one more capacitance which is like this here CGB. And there will be one more capacitance like this also, but it's not of that important. It is CGD. It will play its role when we will consider some advanced things. But right now, this is the full model where we have included the capacitances also. And note that when we are working in, as you might have also studied in your basic electronics courses, when we are working in low frequency region, all these intrinsic capacitance will act as an open circuit, and there is no role to be played in the analysis. But when we will understand the frequency domain analysis of all these transistors, then these capacitances will start playing its role, because at high frequencies these intrinsic capacitances will have some value, and normally in low frequency all these capacitances are open circuited. So please keep this in mind. When we will discuss frequency responses, we will understand by drawing this circuit, the one which we are drawing over here. And it will not be only blue circuit, it will include the capacitances also. So this is the complete diagram for the MOSFETs. So this completes the MOSFET understanding. So today I will just cover up some basic questions related to the MOSFET, and then we will in the next lecture we will start the frequency response, or the gain and small signal gain and all that type of stuff in for the MOSFETs. So to start with, let us I'll write one question here, and I will ask you some questions in this. So this class will be more of interaction session. So the question is, calculate the bias current of M1. Calculate the bias current of M1. You are given mu n COX as 100 microamperes per volt square, and your VTH of this device is zero point 0.4 volts. So the circuit diagram for this thing is this here. So we have 5K, then we have here 1.8 volts, and then we have 1 volt is applied at the gate terminal of this MOSFET. And please note, we write normally W by L of the transistor like this, and it's written as 2 upon 0.18 microns like this. Normally we write W by L like this. So this is the MOSFET M1. So you have to calculate the bias current of M1 given these values. So can you solve this question, students? Okay, so the drain current of the MOSFET is, we know that in saturation, the drain current of the MOSFET is given by this, right? So if the drain current of the MOSFET in saturation is given like this, then there is a important thing that I want to discuss here that we are assuming that this MOSFET is in saturation. We are assuming that this MOSFET is in saturation. But there is no proof here that this MOSFET is in saturation or not. Why this is so? This is because I told you that if the MOSFET is in saturation, then VGS minus VDS has to be less than VTH. As simple as that. If this condition is satisfied, your MOSFET is saturation. And I told you that this can be further reduced to VG minus VD less than VTH. So, so when I told you that I am writing MOSFET M1 equation as this, I am assuming it is in saturation. I am assuming. I am not saying it is in saturation. And the reason for that confirmation is because we know gate voltage here. The gate voltage is 1 volt. We know threshold voltage and the threshold voltage is zero point 0.4 volt, but we do not know VD. We do not know this value. That is, we do not know this potential here. That is the drain potential here. We do not know it. So if we do not know, how can we say this transistor is in saturation? So what we are saying is we are assuming that transistor is in saturation, and if it is in saturation, then we will calculate the current, which is ID over here. We calculate the current, and then we will calculate VD based on this ID, which is given over here. And what is that? The VD is equal to, if you apply KVL here, then it will be 1.8 minus 5K times ID. Everybody agrees with this equation? Any problem? This is KCL, simple KVL, right? ID will flow like this. So it will be VDD minus 5K times ID. Any question here? If you have any doubts, let me know.
No, sir.
Okay, so if you are comfortable with this, then you know that this ID you can calculate from this equation. And please note, you are assuming it's in saturation. You don't know exactly whether it's in saturation or not right now. But to start with, we are saying it is in saturation. So if you plug in the values here, it's very simple, right? 1 by 2, mu and CUX is given to you. Then W by L is also given to you. And then VGS is 1 volt. Why VGS is 1 volt? Because the gate voltage is at 1 volt, source voltage is at ground. So if gate voltage is at 1 volt, source voltage is at ground, then your VGS is 1 volt because VGS is VG minus Vs. So your Vg is 1 volt, your Vs is 0, so it's 1 volt. Minus the threshold voltage. The threshold voltage of this particular MOSFET is also given to you. So if you are squaring it, your answer comes out to be, if you calculate it, your answer will be 200 microamperes. So this is your answer ID. So now you have this answer ID as 200 microamperes based on the assumption that the transistor M1 is in saturation. So if it is in saturation, let's prove it now. So this is your 200 microamperes. So what you do, you feed this 200 microamperes here. So once you substitute this 200 microamperes here, the value of VD comes out to be how much? The value of VD comes out to be 0.8 volts. If you if you if you do the calculation, then you will come to know that the value of VD is 0.8 volts. So now you have this value of VD which is given as 0.8 volt. You substitute it here in this position. So once you substitute this in this position, you will get an inequality which says 0.2 is less than 0.4. So if 0.2 is less than 0.4, that means your inequality is satisfied. Then you when you then this shows that your M1 is indeed in saturation, which you assumed in the initial state. So this is the way this question has to be solved. So any questions here regarding any doubt here regarding this calculation? If you have, then let me know. Otherwise, we will discuss something else. Okay. So if there is no question, then the second part of this question is if if your VGS, this voltage VGS, if this voltage VGS which is given over here is if it increases, if it increases by 10 millivolt, what is the change in drain voltage? So what it is saying now is that your VGS now is 1 volt, but what you have done is you increased a little bit of this upside. You increased it by uh, 10 millivolts. You added 10 millivolts into it. So what it is saying is what will be the change in the current? That is, once you increase this voltage VGS by 10 millivolt, you will agree that ID will also change by delta ID. And this delta ID is the change in the current because of this change in the gate source voltage, which is given over here. So if this is the situation, then there are two ways of solving it. The first way, the first method of solving it is simple. The first method is you take your VGS, which is earlier was 1 volt and now it is 10 millivolt, right? So it's actually 1.01 volt. So this is your new VGS now. So what you do? You do that same thing again. You calculate ID, assuming that it's in saturation. You calculate ID, assuming that it's in saturation by replacing this VGS by this new VGS. I am replacing it by cap here. So this cap is the new VGS. You keep it here, and then the threshold voltage you know everything here. So the change, the current will be now given as 206.7 microamperes. So now you can see that when you increased your VGS by 10 millivolts, when you increased your VGS by 10 millivolts, your current increased by what? It increased to 206.7 microamperes. That means the change in the current is 206.7 microamperes minus 200 microamperes, which was earlier. So the change in the current is 6.7 microamperes. This is the change in the current. So if it is so, then this is your new current, right? Because of the new gate source voltage. So now the drain voltage can be calculated again with this new current which you have calculated. So if you do the calculation again, what you get as answer? You get answer as 0.766 volts as the drain voltage. Earlier drain voltage was given as zero point 0.8 volts. Please note, this is the earlier voltage which was given as zero point 0.8 volts. So what is the change in the voltage? Change in the voltage is zero point 0.8 minus 0.7666. So what is the answer? The answer is 34 millivolts. So this is the actual change in the voltage because of the change in the gate voltage that you had done. So what is this is 34 millivolts. And how much you changed? You changed 10 millivolts in the input and you got 34 millivolt change in the output. So what is voltage gain? Voltage gain is 34 millivolt divided by 10 millivolt, 3.4. So this is the voltage gain you got from this circuit. Any questions here? Any one of you? If you have any doubts, let me know. 2018-1198. Do you have any question?
No, sir.
1242,
No, sir.
1245.
Sir, in the question, you told that 10 millimeter increase.
I
Can you
cannot hear you.
again explain?
Can you speak again?
Can you re-explain the uh, ID calculation?
Okay, ID calculation from the first equation you are saying, or from
Yes, sir.
from the discussion. Okay, so you don't know how to calculate that. It's what you are saying, or you have any specific questions in this particular thing?
No, I got how to calculate that,
Huh.
but why the change uh, when 10 millivolt is increased? How the
Okay, okay, okay,
34 volt is increased?
okay. So see, when your VGS is changed from 1 volt, you added 10 millivolts here. So your new VGS becomes 1.01 volt. This is your new VGS. Do you agree with this or not?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if this is now your new VGS, then there is nothing, this is just simple substitution. You rewrite again this equation, which is the MOSFET's equation in saturation. So your mu and CUX you know already. The value of mu and CUX is 100 microamperes. Let me write here 100 microamperes divide by 2. Then W by L is also given. Its value is 2 by 0.18, and then your VGS is given as the new one, which is over here. So this is your new VGS, and your VTH is also given as zero point 0.4. So this is your new current, which is ID new.
Yes, uh, yes, sir, got it.
Okay,
I just made some calculation
okay,
mistakes.
okay, no problem. So so this is the voltage gain that we are getting over here, which is 3.4. So, let me tell you one thing here, and the important thing that you observe is that even when you changed the current by 10 millivolts, then you repeated all this exercise again, you repeated all these calculations again, and then you solved it. So it's a tedious process. You are doing it again, even if the voltage changes by 1 millivolt. Let us say right now it's 10 millivolt, and even if you are changing the voltage VGS by 1 millivolt, again you have to do all this calculation, which is very tedious, and it consumes lot of time because you are doing all this multiplication and everything like this. So is there any smarter way of doing it? So if that is there, then we should resort to that method instead of this method of solving it. So what is the second method for doing it? As you can see, the second method for doing it is very easy, and it doesn't require that much amount of time. And what is that second method? You know that this is a 10 millivolt change, and your original voltage is 1 volt, and you are changing only 10 millivolts. This means what? This means you are actually working in small signal analysis. You are working in small signal analysis mode, because this is your VGS, which is right now, what is the value here? 1 volt. So this is your 1 volt, and what you are doing, you are actually applying a very small signal like this on top of it, which is 10 millivolts. So if you apply 10 millivolts on 1 volt, is effectively it is 1 volt only. Even you cannot see the difference. If you do it in your simulator, you will not see any difference here. So, as you now recall that this is a small signal which you are applying, and we know that in small signal analysis, the MOSFET is linear. If I told you last time that if this is the curve, and if you zoom it, then you will be operating in the linear region, and this linearity you can replace in the MOSFET model. So can we use something here to calculate the current easily? That is the change in the current easily. Yes, we can do it. and we can do it very easily in the sense that you know that the change in the current ID, the small signal change in the current ID is related to GM VGS, which is the small change in the VGS. Everybody agrees with this? This equation you know already. This is from small signal analysis, which we have done earlier here. You can see I am writing this equation only. This is the one. So this is the change. This is the small signal current which flows because of the small signal gate to source voltage that you are applying. So the important thing that is required to be calculated here is GM. And we have already given you a list of different values, list of different ways of calculating GM in our last lecture. So if you take any one of them, so right now if you take any one of them, let us take 2 ID over VGS minus VT. If you take this one, and if you substitute the values of, what is the current value of ID that you are having? The current value of ID that you are having is 200 microamperes. So if you substitute this here, and if you substitute the value of VGS, which is 1 minus 0.4, so what you get is actually 666.6 something microamperes per volt. This is the GM that you can calculate. This is the units for GM. So this is the value that you will get if you calculate GM by this, or if you use any other formula, the three formulas that I had given you. If you use any one of them, you will get this answer, which is 666.6 microamperes. So once you get this answer, which is 666.6 microamperes, then what you do is you calculate this current as 666.6 microamperes per volt into the change in VGS that you have. What is the change in VGS? The change in VGS is 10 millivolts, because this is the small signal voltage, that is VGS. So when you multiply these two together, you will get answer as what answer you will get is, you will get 6.66 microamperes. This is the change in the current which happens because of the change in the gate to source voltage, which is here. So if this happens, you know this is the change. So what is the total current now? The total current now is 200 microamperes plus the change in the current. And that answer comes out to be 206.6 microamperes. And if this equation, this answer is same as the answer that you got from here. In this you had ID, right? You got, what is the value of ID we got here? The value of ID 206.7 microamperes. This one. This is the same answer that you got when you changed it by 10 millivolts. And here also you are getting the same thing, except that it's now 206.7. Earlier that exact calculation was 206.7. This is 206.6, which is quite close. So this is your new ID. If this is your new ID, then you can easily calculate your this equation, the one which I have calculated here, and then you can calculate the change in the delta VD. So the first method is easy, or a second method is easy?
Second one is it?
Second one is easy because you never calculated anything. You solved it using the small signal equivalents. So what is the takeaway from this example? The takeaway from this example is that if some small signal thing is coming up, if some small signal analysis is going on, then what you are doing is you are replacing the MOSFET by this circuit. You are replacing the MOSFET by this circuit, and as I told you that in if you replace the MOSFET by this type of circuit, which is which is basically current source is there, resistance is there, voltages are there, capacitances are there, then you can easily solve this type of circuit using your circuit theory concepts, that is KCL, KVL, all this type of things you can apply here and solve this MOSFET thing. But if the signals are large like this, then you cannot replace this circuit by this. In this type of situation, you cannot replace your MOSFET by this. It's not possible. So if it is not possible, then you have to resort by large signal model analysis, which we had done last time. But if you are having some increments, the small change, then you can replace it by this and do the circuit theory, KCL, KVL, nodal analysis, voltage gain, and all that type of things. So this thing is important here, which I wanted to tell you through this example. Okay, so if it is done, then let us discuss second example. So the second example will be determine the value of W by L that places M1 at the edge of saturation. So we have to determine the value of W by L that places M1 at the edge of saturation. So we have same circuit here. This is your M1. This is your voltage source, which is of 5. This is the resistance, sorry, and this is your voltage 1.8 volts. And then you have, 1 volt here. So now, please note, we have to calculate W by L here. When you and In order to calculate W by L, the condition that they have given is that M1 has to be at the edge of the saturation. So let us solve this. So here when you draw the MOSFET characteristics like this, what is the edge of the saturation means? Edge of the saturation means this boundary, this point. This is the edge of the saturation. Why it is called as edge of the saturation? It's called edge of the saturation because you are actually moving from this area is triode and this is saturation. So you are actually moving from triode to saturation. That's why this is the boundary actually. This is the border. After that, triode becomes saturation. That's why we are saying it's an edge in the saturation, edge of the saturation. So it's a boundary line between triode and saturation. And what is this value? This value is VGS minus VT. So normally VGS minus VT for the saturation condition has to be less than VDS when it's in saturation. But when it is when it is at edge, normally this inequality is like this, normally. But when you are saying at edge, what will happen is this inequality changes to equality here because you are at the boundary. That is why less than equal to less than goes away. So if you have this thing, then you already know that it's equivalent to Vg minus Vt equal to Vd because S is of no use. So if that is the case, your Vg is how much? Your Vg is 1 volt. What is your Vd? Your Vd is, sorry, what is your Vt? Vt is again, it's the value is zero point 0.4 volts and the value of Vd now is, what is the value of Vd now? Its value is 0.6 volts. This is the value of Vd, which is 0.6 volts. So this value comes out to be 0.6 volts. So if this value comes out to be 0.6 volts, that means you are at the edge of the saturation. So if you are at the edge of the saturation, then you can use equation of the current which is in saturation. So then what you do, you write KVL here, and what is the value? This is your ID, this is plus minus, then the value is basically the drain voltage is equal to VDD minus IDRD. What is the value of VD? VD value is 0.6. What is the value of VDD? Its value is 1.8. What is the value of ID? That you have to Calculate. What is the value of RD? RD is 5K. So once you keep the values and calculate, your ID will be your ID will be some value. It will come out to be some value. I don't know the value, but just a second, I'll check it out. Yeah, it comes out to be something like 240 microamperes. So if your ID comes as 240 microamperes, then you can use that same equation which we did last time. Mu and C is W by L by 2, VGS minus VT, which is 1 minus zero point 0.4 square. You know this value already. You know this. You know this. You know this. You can calculate W by L from here. Any questions here regarding this?
No, sir.
So it's a simple thing. The only thing that was a tricky here is that it's putting a condition and you have to make use of this condition. That is the tricky part in this particular question. So once this finishes off, let me give one more question here. So if you have a circuit which is like this. So if you have a circuit which is like this circuit is basically called as diode connected circuit. We will see this, but if you find something like this, which you will find most occasionally when we will discuss advanced chapters on this particular course, this particular configuration is called as diode connected transistors. Diode connected transistors. We will understand this later on, but right now we are not understanding the two details of it. But keep this in mind: when you connect gate to drain, it's a diode connected transistor. So can you tell me one thing? If I have this transistor, if I connect this source to anything, there is no if I connect it to ground or if I connect it to the battery, it doesn't matter. Like either of this doesn't matter. So right now, if you connect gate to drain like this, can you tell me? And I am posing a question. I am posing a question to you. And what I am saying is, when you connect gate to drain for this transistor, this will be always in saturation. This transistor will be always in saturation. It will never go to triode. Can you give me a reason why I am saying that? Like why it is always in saturation? Can you give me a reason for that? Why I am so confident that this transistor will always be in saturation? Any one of you? Okay, when I am saying that you have a transistor like this, and if this transistor gate and drain are connected, then I am saying that this transistor is always in saturation. And the reason why I am saying it is very simple. You write this equation again, which is for saturation. This is for the saturation condition equation, as you can see. And I also told you so many times that the source potential is of no use. So you can write it like this also. Because of source potential is of no use. That's why I was telling that whether the source is connected to ground or whether the source is connected to a battery, we don't care. And the reason for that is because of this equation where the source potential is of no use. So you have Vg minus Vd less than Vth. So what is Vg and Vd? When you connect the gate to the drain like this, then you know it's a short circuit. it's a wire of short circuit. So whatever value you have at this point, let us say you have 0.8, the same value will be here. So because of the wire which is connecting the 2 points. So if I say that the value is 0.8, it's also 0.8. If I say its value is 0.9, its value will also be 0.9. Or whatever value you keep it here, it will pass straight away to this because of this wire which is connecting. So that means the gate potential is same as drain potential because of the value that you are getting over here, which is same. So if that is the situation, then what is value of Vg minus Vt? The value will be 0 because both the gate and the drain potential are at the same potentials. And this 0 is less than, what is the value of Vth in NMOS? It's 0.4. Is it satisfied that is 0 is less than 0.4? Yes, it is always satisfied. So this means your transistor, which is this transistor, in which your all whenever you see something like this where your gate is connected to the drain, you can blindfoldly tell that this transistor is in saturation. There is no question that it will be in triode. It will always be in saturation. So if that is the question, if that is the thing, I want to ask you in this question that you have to plot the drain current of this MOSFET, which is M1, as you increase V1. So we want to plot the drain current of this MOSFET M1 when your V1 is increased. That means you are actually seeing what is the drain current as your source potential of the MOSFET is increasing. So if you write the equation the uh, of this circuit, the drain current of it will be like this. And why I'm writing this? Why I'm not writing the triode equation? The reason for that is I have already proved here that this transistor is always in saturation. So we will have drain current which is given like this, which is a saturation current, drain current. So now you can write it like this. It will be Vg minus Vs. What is that Vs? Vs is the voltage that you are applying minus Vt whole square, like this. So what do you observe from here? The thing that you observe is that right now your Vg minus Vs is minus Vts. This is the equation that you have for drain current. So the drain current actually, if you see the behavior of the drain current, if you increase Vs, as I told you that source voltage is increasing. As you increase Vs from 0 to VDD, you are increasing source voltage from 0 volt to VDD. Then when you are increasing and what will happen? This term is actually subtracting from Vg minus Vt. You can write it like this, right? Vg minus Vt, one term, and then you have source voltage as a second term. And then you write like this. So if you are increasing this, then actually you are subtracting from this voltage, which is a constant voltage. So if you are subtracting, if you are increasing this, then what will happen? Your drain current is going down. Your drain current will go down because you are subtracting something. This is going up and you are subtracting from a constant value. So if you increase b and if you keep a constant, then you know that a minus b will go down. The a minus b whole square will go down. So your ID will at zero position when your Vs was 0, at that time you had highest value of the drain current, and when your Vs starts increasing, your drain current goes down. It goes down like this and stops at this point. This point value is given by what? Its value is given by, this is your S. So here you are plotting it by V1. So what is this value? This value will happen when your VGS is less than VTH. Why it will happen like this? Because this is your VGS, this potential is VG, this potential is Vs, and you are increasing this Vs. So when you are increasing the Vs, then what will happen? Your VGS, which is this, you are increasing Vs, then your VGS will reduce because this is constant. So if you are increasing your Vs, keeping Vg constant, your VGS is decreasing. So if your VGS is decreasing, you know there will be a point when it becomes less than VTH, then the current will be gone. So there will be no current when your VGS decreases and becomes less than VTH. So this is the point where the current becomes zero. So here you can write like this. At this point current will be zero. This is Vg minus Vs less than VTH. And you know this Vg, the value of this Vg is VDD because you are connected it to VDD here. So it will be VDD minus VTH, and this is the value. So your Vs has to be greater than VDD minus VTH. So if you are greater than this, then the current will be zero in this region. It will be zero here. But here you will have current. Any questions here in this particular setting? Any doubts related to what I am discussing here? Any questions? So this is basically the profile of ID with V1 as you increase this voltage here. So before ending this class, I just wanted to, tell you that if you have this type of circuit here, and this you will find very common in the circuits which we will discuss later on. This is the MOSFET M1, which we are calling as diode connected M1. So if I want to calculate the output resistance of this, so if I see from this side, I want to calculate the output resistance of this circuit, then how we can do it? We can do it very easily. We will replace this MOSFET M1 by its small signal equivalent. This is the thing. So what we are doing, we are replacing it by this MOSFET. I am replacing this MOSFET by the small signal equivalent, and then you know that gate is connected to drain, so you connect this line here. You know the source of this MOSFET is grounded, you connect like this, and the thing is what you want to do now is you have to calculate the output resistance from here. So in order to calculate the output resistance, you know from the basic electronics, if you want to calculate the output resistance, you attach a battery here, and you pass a current from this side. This is a test voltage and the test current which is going into this blue circuit. So the output resistance will be Vt over It. This is the output resistance. If you calculate Vt divided by It, then it is the resistance that this particular battery is seeing when you see from this side. This is same as you are seeing from here in the circuit. So once you apply your KCL, KVL, I don't know how you apply it, but my way of doing it is something different. So if you apply KCL and KVL here, it's a very simple circuit. There is no problem. I think you can solve it. It's very easy. So here, one thing to note is your VGS, which is over here, is given by VG minus Vs. It's it's as simple as that. So it's Vg minus Vs. What is the value of Vg? As you connected this terminal, to this terminal. Oh, just a second. So as you connect, oh, actually, just a second. So as you connected this terminal here to this terminal, so your VG is actually equal to VT, because at this terminal, at this point, you have VT over here. So your VG is VT, so VGS will be VT here. So if VGS is VT, then it will become GM VT, because you replaced VGS by VT. So now if I write, KCL, KVL or nodal analysis of whatever the way you do it, I don't know. But if you do it, it will be like this: VT divided by RO. It will be the VT divided by RO equal to IT minus GM VGS. This is what I am doing, is I am applying KCL at this point. And you know that VGS is VG minus VS. So VG will be VT, VS is 0, and then you have VT 1 over RO. And if you simplify this expression, you will get VT over IT as, which is your output resistance, as 1 over GM plus 1 over R, like this. So this is the output resistance for this MOSFET M1. So if you have a MOSFET M1 which is like this, and if you see the output resistance by looking down like this, the output resistance is given as 1 over GM plus 1 over RO. And this can be approximated as 1 over GM, because RO is much greater than 1. This is actually, you can this is the output resistance of the MOSFET, and its value is much greater than 1. So 1 by RO is less than 1. So we replace this to be close to 0. So it can be approximated as 1 over GM. So this is the small signal resistance when you look from top to ground. Similarly, in case of PMOS, this is the circuit. And if you solve yourself, and if you see the resistance looking from bottom to up, its value will also be given as 1 over GM of NMOS, PMOS. This is basically N. So these two things are important, and it will be always repeated, and it's a basic building block for this particular course. So I thought that it's better to, you know, make you introduce with this. So any questions here till now? If you have, then let me know.